Hello everybody, welcome back. I think for many of us, we have already mentally checked out of this year and have entered a sort of purgatory. It's this middle place where you feel like it's too late to start anything for this year, but too early to take on something for the upcoming year. Maybe this looks like you've abandoned your old goals and are brainstorming new ones, or maybe you've even bought planners that you can't use yet. It's this feeling of perpetual waiting. You're waiting for the right time to start. You're waiting for the right circumstances to start. You're waiting for the right amount of motivation to start. The truth is, it will never feel like the right time, and the only right time is now. And it's not too late. In today's video, I am taking you through a very simple exercise to get clarity on your goals and to pick away at them before this year is over. Let's not waste these last 2 months in preparation for the upcoming year. Let's make the most of them today. So without further ado, let's get started. For this exercise, you will need a pen and a sheet of paper or a notebook, and you want to make sure that you have enough room to really sprawl out. So the first thing I'm going to do is simply state that I am here. It's always nice to sort of ground the page and get a real sense of your starting point. The next step is to review your goals for this year and to start picking out things that still feel relevant, things that you still want to work on. So for me, one of the things that I had for this year was I wanted to learn some Swedish. Another goal I had was to learn some guitar. I bought this beautiful guitar and I have hardly touched it, so this one feels particularly guilty. Another goal I had that still feels relevant is that I wanted to work out more. And I also wanted to read more. So here are the goals that still feel relevant to me and ones that I still want to work towards. Now, I want to make sure that I'm not taking on too much. Do I think I can make headway on all 4 of these before the year's over? Probably not. And I'm noticing that both of these goals have the word learn in them, and so it's unlikely that I will be able to do both at the same time without feeling overwhelmed, especially because they require new skills. Between the two of these, learning some guitar feels more manageable to me than learning some Swedish, so right off the bat, I'm taking out one of these. So now I have 3 goals that feel low resistance. The next step is going from broad goal to specific and actionable steps. If you're familiar with setting SMART goals, then this will come as a review. So for example, work out more is very broad. That could mean a lot of different things. So instead, I'm going to make it more narrow and say that I'd like to work out 3 times a week. This is already a pretty good goal, however, it also invites a little bit of shame, because if I miss a workout, then all of a sudden I have not completed the goal of working out 3 times per week. So instead, I'm actually going to say that I would like to work out 20 times in these next 2 months. Why does this work better? Well, not only do you have a goal that you can reach, but you're also allowing for a couple of skipped days. So for example, 3 times per week averages about 24 times in these 2 months. I'm saying work out 20 plus times. Not only can I count the number of workouts, but if I miss 1 or 2 workouts, that's okay, and I will still be on track to complete this goal. So let's do something similar for read more. Once again, this is very broad. So instead of read more, how about I would like to read 1 book per month? And just like we did before, let's actually narrow this in even more. So instead of saying I'm going to read 1 book per month, I can set a very easy goal of read 20 pages per day. Once again, this is a manageable goal because some days you may only want to read 10 pages and other days you might be so motivated you could read 50 or 100 pages. So setting a goal like this allows for missed days. And finally, instead of simply just learning some guitar, we want to narrow this into, especially if you're learning something new, it can be very overwhelming when you don't know where to start. So instead, I'm going to say learn 12 beginner guitar chords. This already feels pretty narrowed in to me, but if you wanted to take it one step further, you could say that you wanted to master 1 to 2 guitar chords per week. So once again, this allows for some weeks where you're only feeling motivated to learn one and other weeks where you might be more motivated to learn more than one. So this is great. We have taken our more broad goals and we have narrowed them into actionable goals. The next step is setting yourself up for success and thinking of all the little things you can do to make there be the least amount of resistance as possible. And I'll show you what I mean. So if I think about working out, what are some actions that I can take that will help make this feel more manageable? One example is that I could set out my workout clothes the night before. Sometimes the most amount of resistance comes from the preparation around doing the task. So when you wake up in the morning, maybe it's not that you don't want to work out, but you're like, well, my clothes are all over the place, things aren't where they need to be, I'd just rather not do it. Another thing that I'm going to put here is that I can do a workout that interests me. This is an example of lowering the stakes. Maybe my ideal workout is running or weightlifting, but if that is of no interest to me, any sort of physical activity is going to be better than none at all. So maybe I'm interested in dancing or doing Pilates or taking up a new sport. These are all very valid forms of exercise that will also make it feel easier. And we can carry the same thing for reading. So maybe I keep my book by my bedside table. Once again, I will be more likely to read if the book is in arm's reach. So if I do something simple like keep the book by my bedside table, that will signal to my brain, oh yeah, my book is here, maybe I should pick it up. And again, just like working out, I can pick books that interest me. If you have a lot of resistance surrounding your goal, so for example reading, just lower the stakes. So maybe ideally I would love to read some nonfiction or some historical pieces. If that doesn't feel available to me right now, I can start with something that is easier. I could start with a graphic novel or a romance novel or something that I can read really quickly and kind of build up my sense of accomplishment and a sense of motivation to read more difficult or challenging books. So again, here we have with the guitar, I'm going to keep my guitar in my room. Usually I have all of my music and recording equipment on the 3rd floor, but going all the way up to the 3rd floor feels like an extra hurdle for me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my guitar in my room. And just like before, I'm learning 12 beginner chords, and you know what? I'm going to start with the easiest ones. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I already know that I'm a beginner, so why not just start with the easiest chords? So now we have our goals. They've been narrowed in, and we have the path of least resistance for each goal. This is incredible, and we are almost done, I promise. It's been repeated several times, but action precedes motivation. You don't magically wake up one morning feeling motivated. A lot of the times you just have to start and the motivation will follow. So for those days when you are really struggling, let's implement a backup plan. And the general rule of thumb is just set up your space to complete the task and do it for 2 minutes. I came across that in a TikTok. I don't remember the creator, but it has stuck with me ever since. So for example, if I really don't feel like working out and I'm feeling a lot of resistance and it feels like that kind of pit in my stomach, the only thing I'm going to do is put on my workout clothes. For reading, I'm going to read a single page or just the back of the book. And for guitar, I will literally just tune the guitar. You'll usually find that movement begets further movement. Oh, that's the wrong one. When you start with something as simple as putting on your workout clothes or tuning the guitar, you are still interacting with your goal in some way. So a lot of the times when I tune the guitar afterwards, I will think to myself, that wasn't so bad. I feel capable to move on to practicing for longer. Or after reading one page of a book, I think you'll often find, you know what? I think I can read more than that. And if you don't, that's fine too. It's all about still showing up and still making movement in some capacity. And for the final step, it's always important to remember the why. It's likely that you don't just want to work out for the sake of working out. You want to work out because you want your desired figure, or you'd like to be able to lift your child, or you'd like to feel strong, you'd like to feel lively. if you focus on your why, it will keep you grounded during those days of very little motivation. I don't just want to read more, I want to learn more. I want to feel more creative. I want to feel more imaginative. For the guitar, I want to be able to accompany myself. I want to compose songs. I'd like to be able to express myself. So there we have it. We have our goals. We have our low resistance actionable steps. We have our backup plan for the days where we're not feeling motivated at all. And then we have our why to ground us back to these goals. And always remember that you are not behind. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with the old Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Alright everybody, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing and giving it a huge thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay cozy, and bye-bye.